Yes.
Okay, so I've done this a couple of times over the past few years. When they originally implemented this, provided a little discussion, and as things have evolved, I've updated the council to hopefully take back to the communities. This is the MassDOT Small Bridge Program. It was, I don't recall when it was first implemented, but it was a 2-year program several years ago before COVID. Everything's before COVID now or after, but anyway, it was $50 million originally. It was a legislative allotment to the state to provide grants to municipalities for managing and repairing, replacing their small bridges. The original program was 2 years. It was very popular. There was a backlog of requests by the time it exhausted. So I believe the legislature extended it to a new program. And MassDOT implemented that a couple of years ago. It's still kind of getting off the ground. So what I wanted to do was talk about a few things that have changed from the original program to the current one. And just to say, our company has done a lot of these. Mostly for towns in the western part of the state. We've successfully helped towns in District 1 and part of District 2 obtain a number of these grants and complete bridges over the years. And we are currently on MassDOT's consulting contract for design work, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So to get to the website, all you have to do is Google MassDOT Small Bridge Program. And it'll drop you into this selection right at the top, and it will lead you here to the home page. Because this is a grant, everything in this on this page is described in grant terms, even though logically in some cases it doesn't make sense the way that they're doing it. But again, I believe this is tied to legislation, so that's how they've chosen to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step through some of the tabs and discuss some of the things that have changed from the original program and some of the things that the town should be aware of when they want to go into go through this process. So Mary, if you want to go start with project implementation.
Wrong one. Sorry, I jumped.
That's okay.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, so the first thing is that the town will fill out an application submitted to MassDOT. MassDOT, I'll talk about that in a little bit. MassDOT will evaluate the town's request and their eligibility for the bridge and make a determination as to whether or not they're going to award it. If they do award it, the town is responsible for 2 phases. The first phase, which is the original small bridge program, had the town hire an engineering consultant to do the design, and the town was awarded up to $100,000 for that design. The consultant had to be pre-approved on the MassDOT A&E board for small bridge design, and there is a lot of them. What MassDOT found was that there was a number of consultants were designing projects that could not be built within the limits of the grants. So they decided that they would take on a number of firms who had been successful in doing that and bring them on as a contract. And so what MassDOT will do, Mary, if you'll hit design implementation. Yep. The first one. Yep. So what MassDOT will do is they will take the grant application, and if the grant is awarded, they will select one of the consultants from that their list, and they'll give them the design. Mary, if you want to scroll down just a little bit.
Tell me when to keep going.
Yep, right there's good. So the option is, and it's not clear as to why a town would want to do this, other than a very specific special circumstance. MassDOT will entertain the option that the town could hire their own consultant and award the $100,000. The design limit is $100,000, and the town is responsible for the balance if it goes over that. The only reason that I can either the town already has something in place that's already been designed, or they need a design that's going to be faster within the process, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So the next step would be MassDOT awards the design either to a consultant or the town. The design process goes through the full Chapter 85 review process. We get plan specifications, calculations, etc., and MassDOT accepts it. Whether the town designs it or the town's consultant designs it, or MassDOT's consultant designs it, once that's complete, the design has been accepted. The full PS&E package will then be transmitted to the town. Just incidentally, the town will have input in the design process. Obviously, they're going to be determining what needs to be done. So the consultant in the town, whether the consultant is working for MassDOT or the town, will be consulting with the town.
This guy.
1 second. Hold
Yep.
on. 1 second.
Stop.
1 second. Okay, there we go.
All right, so the design documents go to the town. So Mary, if you want to scroll down to construction implementation.
Further.
All right, yep. So the town is responsible here. This is good right here. The town is responsible for advertising and awarding the contract. And prior to MassDOT signing off on that, the town has to demonstrate that they have any right-of-way acquisition completed, all the environmental permits, and either the utility relocations completed, or that they are in an agreement with the utilities to move anything that may be in the way out of the way prior to construction. Once that's done, MassDOT will sign off on the construction, and then the town is responsible for construction oversight. Whether the town has its own personnel who are qualified to be construction inspectors, or hiring a consultant to do that. The construction reimbursement is limited to $500,000. The town is responsible for anything that's over 500. And Mary, if you want to scroll down a little bit further, right? We'll get to that in a second. Reimbursement. One thing that is not on the website, which is a very important point, if the design is MassDOT's consultant, and that is the engineer that stamps the plans is the engineer of record, and that engineer or his firm under his responsible charge has to verify that the materials that are incorporated into construction meet the design. So even if the town does not directly contract with the consultant to do the design, the town will need to contract with the consultant to oversee all of the construction submittals and material submittals for construction. So that's not clear on the website, but that's something that the towns should be aware of. And that money, the cost of that consultant work is part of the $500,000 limit. So the town would not be reimbursed for anything beyond that $500,000. So that's something that's not clear on the website anywhere. So as far as requesting reimbursement is concerned, MassDOT changed the process from the original small bridge program, which was a lump sum reimbursement at the very end, to now their process is going to follow the normal Chapter 90 process. So whatever the town is used to as far as getting their Chapter 90 money is concerned, that doesn't change. So they'll just have to confirm that all the money, the construction is occurring, and sign off on all the materials incorporated. So that's as much as I'm going to say about this tab. Mary, if you want to go back to the route directory and then go to what is a BRI or what is a small bridge. So this goes part of eligibility. If you want to scroll down just a little bit, this tab is actually pretty extensive because there's a whole bunch of different criteria depending on the type of structure. But basically what it boils down to is that the structure is between 10 and 20 feet in span on its main span. Anything less than 20 feet, MassDOT classifies as a culvert, whether it's shaped like that or not. And then over 20 feet is a federal definition of what a bridge is. Massachusetts definition is greater than 10. But we don't call it a bridge. We call it either a small bridge or a BRI for record keeping. But it's the 10 to 20 foot range that the towns may request the funding for the within the program. And you know, if the town has trouble defining this on their own, they can hire a consultant to assist them, which we'll talk about in a little bit more in terms of the application process. Mary, if you want to go back to the route and then go to project eligibility. I'm not going to say too much about this tab, other than this provides quite a bit of discussion on how the grants are determined whether or not the town is eligible. Mary, if you want to scroll down a little bit further, the big thing right there is what can be requested for funding and what can't. Okay. All right. If you want to go back and then go to selection criteria. Okay, again, this comes out of the application form, but right there, the bullet list of the main things that the state looks at to determine whether or not the town is eligible, the bridge is eligible for the funding. Okay, Mary, if you want to jump back up and then go to the apply for small bridge.
Frank has just, can we, Frank, do you have a question?
I do. I have to, there is somebody here, and John's still here, and John will answer any question. I don't mean to leave the meeting. I may be back, but I've got something going on right here.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for letting us know.
And Frank, we have gotten through what we need in terms of votes.
Okay. All right, so Mary, if you want to go to apply for the small bridge grant, and then this provides the discussion on the form, go all the way to the bottom. And if you want to hit, keep going. I just want to get the application.
Here, right,
there it is right there. Hit that. Okay, now part of this, again, I think has to do with the language and is something that the towns need to be aware of. Go to page 4 of this application. And right here, provide a breakdown of the estimated cost of the project. Okay, so a couple of things in the form. One of them is being the scope of work. And the other one being estimated cost. MassDOT on this is requiring both a design fee cost and a construction preliminary cost estimate. So this is where, again, a consultant can come in and help the town. In the past, my company's done these pro bono, but there's a lot more work that's happening up front. And given the fact that there's no guarantee that the consultant that assists is going to get the work, because it then could go to MassDOT and then get contracted, you're probably going to want to have the consultant come on under contract to do this work. So the first thing they need to do is they need to come up with a preliminary cost estimate of what the design will be. And that has to be under 100,000. And then what the work will be, and that has to be under 500,000, or if it's over, the town has to acknowledge that they're going to cover the additional. That is part of the form. And then the balance of the form is the justification and administrative criteria that MassDOT has as far as the bridge itself, whether it's been inspected, whether there is a rating on it. And again, the consultant can help with that. And then finally, Mary, if you want to go back to the route directory and go back to program overview, and then just drop down a little bit, go to where it has the fiscal year right there. Okay, so there's a lot of FAQs at the bottom, which provides some additional information that I haven't covered, and I provided some information that's not covered on the FAQs. The fiscal year deadlines, these are just listed for 2023. They haven't updated them for 2024, but basically it's from May to the end of the fiscal year. Takes MassDOT 2 to 3 months to make a determination as to acceptance. Town gets notified. MassDOT or the town goes under contract with MassDOT. That takes a little bit of time. Either the town has a consultant on board or MassDOT selects the consultant, which then goes under their contract. We have to move through the process of getting a consultant on board. So having said all of this, the time frame to get a design, because it's based on fiscal year, doesn't work great as far as the construction season is concerned, because it's right in the middle of a construction season. It's probably going to be 2 years before a design could actually go to advertising, based on how things roll out. So from the standpoint of, if this is an emergency situation and the town needs work done quickly, this is probably not the mechanism to use, unless the town is able to work through the what MassDOT had as far as the acceptance of the consultant, and the town managing the consultant themselves to speed up the process. It might go from 2 years to 1 year, but if there's something that needs to happen urgently, again, this may not be the mechanism to use. And then finally, the consultants that MassDOT has on contract, I will list them. You can also talk to the District 5 Bridge Engineer, Shane Souza. Mary, if you want to scroll up a little bit. There's another list up above that has his email address. Shane Souza, District 5, is the District Bridge Engineer. He can help, again, the towns work through this process. The consultants that MassDOT has on contract right now for themselves, which at some point the town is going to have to work with, is Bayside Engineering, BSC Group, Gill Engineering, which is my company, GM2 Associates, Par Corporation, Ty and Bond, and VHB. All right, and again, that is not listed on the on this website, because that does change based on the contracts, but that's going to have to work in terms of the construction lagging behind the contracts running out. So, and I don't know if Shane has the list. But Mary, if you ask Mary, I can help with that, provide their contact information. And Charlie has a question on, is there a program that would help fund emergency repairs? Not that I'm aware of, Charlie. Again, you can contact Shane, and certainly Chapter 90 money could be used for that too. So, and that is the end of my presentation. If anybody has any other questions.
I do, Dan from Whitman.
Yep.
Which gets a small bridge. We have in Whitman a couple of cul-de-sacs that go under the road, and like one on School Street where the fencing and stuff is gone. I don't know how much damage is underneath, but is there a minimum that can be spent? In other words, if it only needs $100,000 worth of work or $50,000 worth of work, is that not enough?
No,
Is that
the
considered a bridge?
limit is 500, but it can be less than that.
Yeah, and we have another one on Essex Street that's another stream goes under that bridge. It has been repaired,
Yep.
but I do not know that the DPW would know the condition of it better than I would. And I'm gonna probably talk to them tomorrow and see if they want to look into this. And
Yeah.
if the time frame has gone by and it takes so long, can the town, like, say the bridge on School Street cost $20,000 to repair,
Mhm.
and all the things, say it totals 20, 30,000. Can the town pay for that and then get
And then
reimbursed?
ask, no. No, under this program, no, the mechanism doesn't work that way. And the eligibility, if you go through the eligibility requirements on the website, it'll tell you what's eligible and what isn't. But this is, yeah, hi, Charlie. So this is not for routine maintenance. This is for full rehabilitations.
Okay.
And the town, and it's not set up so that the town spends the money, goes to MassDOT and requests a reimbursement. All that stuff would be the normal Chapter 90 mechanism. That website, for whatever reason, isn't working.
So I guess we need to decide whether or not we want to go through that process, and if
Yes.
and it is a bus route, by the way.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know,
that
for
would go
school
to,
buses.
that would go to the eligibility and whether or not they would select it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And again, it has to be, the span has to be greater than 10 feet and less than 20. And that is critical for it to fall into the category.
Okay.
I have a question, Preston.
Hmm?
If it takes about 2 years for the project to happen and it's a competitive project,
Yep.
if you have a capital plan for your roadways and you say, okay, I think this bridge is going to last another 3 years, can you go in and plan and ask for that to be replaced? Or given how competitive it is, do you almost need to let the bridge fail
Yeah,
and then
Um,
ask to get repaired under this
so-
program?
The failure, allowing a bridge to fail is a gamble. You may or may not receive funding. The bridge may end up sitting and somebody's gonna have a dead end street out front. Who
Right.
lives nearby and be very happy with that because they'll no
But
longer
I'm
have a
wondering,
crash
are
driving
those the
past
only
their
ones
house.
that
But,
get funded?
no, they're funded based on fiscal need, the importance of the structure and the condition of the structure.
Okay,
So it's not, it doesn't have to have gone to the point where it's closed. You know, as long as you can justify, the town can justify that the work needs to be done, MassDOT accepts it. And just as a, you know, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this update, recently, in the past, in the original program, we would fill out applications and it got into the backlog and did not get funded because the money ran out. Right now, the applications that we're filling out are being accepted. So we're not sure if the money pool is bigger. There's no, the state hasn't said, you know, what the limit is on it. Or if there is a lack of towns applying because of the confusion and just they're not aware that it's continued. So, so just from an anecdotal standpoint, every application we filed for a town has gone through.
okay,
Doesn't
so
guarantee
it's,
it, but I'm just saying that that's been the case.
okay, so it's worth talking to our towns and trying to get some more applications and get some of this money into fixing up small bridges in our region.
Absolutely. And the next round will be ending of June 24. So you
Okay,
got time.
all right, thank
For-
you, Preston.
For the
So-
council members, I've talked to Megan about, we're gonna take this snippet of the YouTube video and we're gonna separate it out. So then you can share it with your DPW and your communities so they can hear this conversation. And then, as Preston had said, contact Shane. But we also have the JTC meeting that we could bring this up to. It's always great conversations, right? This is the council, but there's also, whether it's the JTC and other venues that we could have these conversations. They're important conversations.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, just very, you know, the money is there and it is a grant. The town should take advantage of it if they need to.
Thank you very much, Preston.